All right. Hi, everybody. I've met some of you, but for those of you whom I haven't met, I'm Karen Dean. I'm the new Member Services Coordinator here at Ashby Village, and very excited to be here today. And super excited that we have Mary D'Elia, the Executive Director of the Albany YMCA. She's here today to share her extensive knowledge. And as some of you may have seen in the write-up about the class, she has a background in health and fitness and has worked at the Albany Y for over 30 years, helping senior adults stay active and fit. And we're so excited to have her here today, specifically to talk about our feet. I don't know that we talk about those quite enough, but they're so integral to keeping us feeling good and stable and healthy. I'm excited to say that hopefully this is a first of many opportunities to have her share her interest and passion for keeping us fit. So a couple things about the meeting today. Mary's going to take from 1:05 probably till about 1:35, and that's going to be you can put any questions you have into the chat box, and then we're going to spend the last 10 minutes going over. Sigrid's going to be managing those questions, but if you could put them into the chat box, that way we can not interrupt Mary's train of thought, but get folks' questions answered. Mary has also graciously offered to take questions, and so I'm going to put her email contact in the chat box as well. So hope you guys all enjoy the presentation, and Roberta's just going to give a little pitch as one of Mary's students. So go ahead, Roberta.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. And I'm Roberta Pressman, co-leader of the Healthier Aging team, and I'm so happy to welcome Mary D'Elia of the Albany Y today. I actually discovered Mary's classes several years ago after I outgrew the fast-paced classes at the downtown Y, and found that Mary has a really genuine interest in teaching older adults and teaches some of the best classes I've ever taken for us older adults. And I'm hoping today will be just the first of our collaborations with Mary and the Albany Y, which is actually just located down the street from our offices. And I also wanted to mention that while so many of our classes are on hold, that if you're looking for more exercise opportunities, you might want to try some of Mary's classes. She teaches senior aerobics on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11, and senior strength training on Thursday. And there are also opportunities for general yoga and Pilates as well. And the classes are both held live on Zoom, as well as they're available to be streamed at any time that's convenient for you, so long as you have a Y membership. And now let's get to those feet. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Ashby Village. It is my pleasure to be here today for this union of these two membership wonderful organizations. And it's true, the Albany Y is really right down the street from Ashby Village offices. So if you've never been to the Albany Y, and believe it or not, I run into people all the time who didn't even know Albany had a Y. We are here on Keynes Avenue, so I encourage you to come check us out. We also have a huge presence on the virtual Y, and we're part of the YMCA of the East Bay, which is an amazing organization of 5 membership branches, and we're connected with Berkeley and Richmond and Oakland and Pleasant Hill. So we are part of a tremendous organization. I just wanted to say that I have been here at the Y for many years, and I am now the executive director, but I always continue to teach as I assume my position as executive director, because it is a love of mine to continue to teach. I've been doing it for so long, and especially teaching older active adults. And so when COVID hit and our buildings closed, we all kind of repurposed ourselves and did what we thought would be helpful for our community to keep people moving. And so I kind of went back to my roots and started teaching more on the virtual Y. And we also developed these senior talks. Heywan Rowe and Albert Chan from the Berkeley Y and I would get together with on Zoom just like this. And once a month, we would do a health topic. And we started out with feet. which was the most popular of all of the talks that we did. And so we repeated it, and we did repeat feet with, as much as we could add to it. These series of exercises are really designed, I think, just to give our feet some TLC, which most of us don't spend a lot of time, as Karen pointed out, enough time on our feet. And our feet are so vitally important to the quality of our life. Many people suffer with severe problems with feet, whether it is neuroma or bunions or neuropathy. There's all kinds of things that can inhibit and cause pain. And this isn't really to help fix those things, but it is just an opportunity to prevent further problems, or just, give your feet some relief, and thus the rest of your body. Our feet play an important role in our well-being. They are our foundation. They also enable us to stand upright in a static position. They're messengers to the body. They send messages about temperature, about surface, about direction, about where we're going. And so they obviously play a very important role. For anybody who's ever had foot problems, and I would probably venture to say most of us have had unhappy feet at one time in our lives or other, it does definitely deeply impact our lifestyle. So we rely on our feet for balance, but it isn't just feet that helps us with balance. It really is about addressing the whole body. But today we will spend time just really on the feet. We're going to help do some exercises that will help stimulate the muscles in the feet and hopefully increase proprioception. And proprioception is how the feet make contact with the floor or a surface and send that message up to the rest of the body. Unfortunately, one of the things about aging is that as we get older, the skin on the bottom of our feet gets thinner, no surprises, and our proprioception can diminish. So as much as we can focus on enhancing that and being aware of that it really just makes it all the better. So I know that during the pandemic, I, for one, spent a whole lot more time walking and hiking outside, especially during the shutdown. And I think a lot of us did, for a variety of reasons. We wanted to get outside. It was a means of exercise, a means of socializing, and it was also a stress reliever to be outside. And so there was more time spent walking the streets of our neighborhoods, exploring new neighborhoods, and hiking. And we all realize how lucky we are in the place that we live, that we have great access to trails and nature and even sidewalks. So feet play a vital role, and paying attention to how can I make this experience of walking that I now really love better. And one of them I would say is address your shoes. I know that I went through many, many pairs of shoes in the beginning. I think I just wore out a lot of shoes. So always taking a look at your shoes, making sure that they are not worn. And if you're not quite sure, going to a shoe store or a place where they sell shoes might be a good option, just to check into that. Walking is actually one of the best things that we can do. That oppositional movement is so great for our brain. It's great for uniting and bridging the two hemispheres of the brain. It's great for our nervous system. It helps with cerebral activity as well as physical activity. So if you're not a walker, or if you are a walker, and you should really give yourself a lot of credit for the great activity in which you're doing. I can't say enough about how great walking is for your overall well-being as well as for the rest of your body. So with that, I'm going to back up, and I have my shoes and socks off. So if you're going to join me, and I'm hoping that you do, I encourage you to take your shoes and socks off. If you haven't spent enough time without your shoes and socks off, it's something that I think you should think about. If you're someone who is troubled by some kind of foot issue, like plantar fasciitis or neuroma, walking barefoot is not great. I know that, but for those of us who don't have those symptoms at this time, I encourage you to really kind of think about spending a little time with your feet actually making contact with the floor. So I am sitting in a armless chair, and if you are going to follow along with me, I'm going to ask you to sit at the edge of your chair. So let's just start in this place. I also want to point out I have a ball and I have a strap and I have a towel. So those are things that I'll be using. If you have them readily accessible, go ahead and grab them, come on back. Or if you just want to follow along without those things, and know that this is being recorded so you can access it later. All the things that I'm going through, I just want to say, is really probably nothing that you haven't seen or heard before. It's just my bullet points for bringing them all together for really addressing the needs and attention that can help with feet. So starting sitting, our other anchor points when we're sitting are our sit bones. So I would encourage you making this kind of a full body awareness exercise, just to sit on your sit bones and feel your feet on the floor. And your thighs are parallel to the floor, shins kind of perpendicular to the floor, and just feel that position. And I'm hoping that you can see my toes. You'll let me know if you can't. I just want you to think about lengthening up your spine. So all parts of your body are connected, right? And I was even having this conversation with my husband this morning because he is a big believer in reflexology, something that I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking of. And, talking about, the idea of reflexology is when you manipulate parts of your feet, they connect to organs. So however that works. It's not a bad thing to think about or, explore further. It's something I'm not aware of. But I just want to say that your feet do not operate solely by themselves. The feet are connected to the rest of the body. As strong as the rest of your body is, the better off your feet will be. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But for right now, as you're sitting, lengthening up that spine, think about just lifting and lowering your toes. Very simply, lifting and lowering the toes. So all of us, and I say this so much in all of the classes that I teach, we all have different capabilities in fitness and wellness and different ranges of motion, different strength, different endurance. So I invite you to meet your body where it is at this moment and just use what you have. So lifting and lowering the toes for some people could be an easy exercise. For others of us, it could be challenging. So let's just do a few more. Toes up, toes down. That's it. Now let's reverse it. You're going to just lift your heels and shift your weight to the balls of your feet and lower. As you do that, do you feel the muscles in your calves activate? And you're just lifting and lowering. As you're lifting and lowering, bring your awareness to your toe mounds and the ball of your feet. So as you lift the heel, you're on the balls of your feet. Think about the outer, your little toe and your big toe being anchors. When the heels are down, the inner heel and the outer heel. So 4 points when the feet are flat. And then as you lift up, it shifts to 2, outside of the little toe, outside of the big toe, and lower. So as you lift and lower your heels, just feel the activation in the lower leg. So those calf muscles. I was also reading as we're doing this very simple exercise, just kind of pumping those calves and just lifting those heels. Reading yesterday about the importance of fidgeting while you're sitting, because I know a lot of us during this time, but maybe even prior to, spent more time sitting, like sitting and teaching a class versus in person, right? So just one example. And fidgeting is actually a really good thing to do. So, shaking out one foot at a time if you're sitting for an extended period, so you can keep something in your body moving without annoying the rest of the people in the room. Okay, so now I just want you to roll to the outside. This is your right foot. I want you to roll to the outside of that foot and then bring it in. As you roll, you're actually moving out from the hip, so it's not just the foot. See if you can put just a tiny bit of pressure on the outside of that foot and bring it back. A lot of times injuries that happen to the ankle joint or the feet happen in the lateral side of your body. So the sides of your ankles, the sides of your knee, the side of your hip. Because moving laterally can be a little less secure or safe. Let's do a few more. Just roll to the outside and bring it in, and the other side. So you're simply stretching a little bit at a time. And just bringing your awareness to the outside. Okay, put your hands underneath the thigh and just lift that leg up. And I just want you to move that hip. So we're just going to warm up the hip a teeny bit before we shift. That's it. And then bring it in and bring the bottom of that foot over on top of the opposite thigh. Okay. So if this sitting position and going into this position isn't great for you, there's always the option to do this lying down. Some of these things you could be doing lying down, which might make it easier. So you're lying down and your foot is crossed over. We call this the number 4 stretch, right? You're lying down and you often grab hold of the opposite thigh. But for right now, we just want to get our hands on this foot. So let's start by a gentle tapping. I'm just going to turn a little bit so you can see. A gentle tapping up and down the bottom. I'm using just my fingers, so I'm not really slapping with a hard hand, but just using the fingers to go up and down that foot. Just kind of waking it up. And now I'm going to take my other hand, this is my right hand, I'm going to go along the top and just give it a little tap up and down, right? Good. And then just hold it here. Take your foot between your hands and give it a little rub, as if you've just come in from the cold and your feet and toes are cold and you want to just simply warm them up. And just send some heat into your foot. That's it. Now take your left hand and we're going to put our fingers in between each toe. So your pinky goes onto the inside of the pinky toe and then all along. And just try and fit those fingers in between the toes. Okay, so some of you may be familiar with yoga toes, which is this little plastic thing that you actually put in between your toes and it actually stretches your toes out. Gives them a little bit of a stretch and can be a tiny bit painful, I won't lie. So see if you can now press your fingers into those toe beds and just simply hold it. So as much as you can get the fingers in between the toes and then just simply hold that. And take a breath. And you're breathing, inhaling and exhaling. All right, so keeping that there, you can have your right hand on your knee or on your shin. See if you can make some space so that you're going to take this ankle around for a ride and circle it around with your fingers in between the toes. That's it. Now I want you to, while we're at it, see if you can add the shoulder to it, only because you're already doing that rotation. Let's get the shoulder involved as well. So it becomes a little bit more of a full body movement. Shoulder, elbow, hip. So we're kind of taking this all the way around and let's reverse it. and go the other way. Around. That's it. Can you make it a little bigger? Still got that pressure? I hope so. That's it. And of course, whatever you work within your comfort zone, if you want less or more, do what you need to do, always. And then you're going to hold it, release those fingers, take the right hand, and then just bring it across the top of your foot. So your fingers are reaching beyond the ball of the foot, and you're gently going to pull those toes back towards the ankle. With the left hand, I'm going to just gently pull the heel back. So you're pulling in one direction with the right and one direction with the left. Take a breath, and I want you to release that. So what we're doing right now is stretching a little bit through the plantar fascia. And this is the plantar fascia, runs from the toes, connects the ball of the foot, and runs to the heel. Anybody who's ever had plantar fasciitis, you wake up one morning and your heels are killing you for no apparent reason. Gently, gently stretching this can help sometimes, but it can also help prevent plantar fasciitis. It can help. There's no necessarily a cure, but there is hopefully, it does heal. And let it release. Good. We're going to stay with this same foot, if you're good with that. Now I want you to make a fist, find the knuckles, and right in here between the ball of the foot and the arch. And you're just going to give it a little massage within that arch, right in there. Can you add some more pressure? Great. Feeling that go into those little nooks and crannies in the arch. Sit and hold. Okay. One more thing before we change sides, do the other foot. This is called slaying. So you take your thumbs and you go to the ball of the foot like this, and you're going to, like, you're pulling it apart. Pull, start with the ball of the foot, pull gently, and then go move down. Same thing, pull to the outsides and go down. So you're just working your way down the foot with those thumbs. And don't be discouraged if for some reason this doesn't work for you. You don't like this position. You don't like your thumbs or get sore. They don't work by splaying, because we have other options in store. Don't you worry. And we're going to go back up, same, gently. And then look at that beautiful bottom of your foot. No judgments. And you want to think about as if you're going to give it a little massage with those thumbs. Just that. Hello, hello. Massage up to the ball of the foot, down through the arch, and down through the heel. Good. Now I want you to take it back, hold it here, and just circle that ankle. So you're holding the foot up. You're not putting weight on it. Circle that ankle. Reverse it. Go the other way. For those of you who are doing some plane travel, great thing to do while you're sitting in your seat is circling those ankles and doing those heel lifts and drops as much as you can, depending on the size of the seat in which you're in. I know it's a lot of cramped, but if you can keep your ankles and feet moving, it's great for your calf, which can, for some people, get thrombosis and different things like that. So keeping those feet moving helps. All right, let's put that down. Now, top of the thigh. It's there. Take the other foot up, behind, underneath the thigh. Just give it a little swing. Warm up that hip a bit as you're going to cross it over. And then take that foot, and we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so we're just going to start with a little slapping. And keep slapping and your finger slapping. And then a little rub, rubbing, warming up those toes. We're out in the snow. This always feels good. This is a great way to end your day. Some people might want to start their day this way, but I think attention to your feet at the end of the day is a really nice, comforting, soothing way to get ready for sleep. Okay, tapping the top. That's it. Okay, let's go to the interlocking, the most important. And starting with the pinky, and remember the pinky goes on the inside and then all the way. That's it. And sometimes you have to kind of take a look and see where you've landed. All right. Start simply by holding that and feeling the power of those separate toes, right? That actually does feel great. Like for me, it feels as though I haven't done this enough. All right, adding a little pressure to the toe mound, taking that ankle around in a circle. As we go, let's add the shoulder. Move it forward and back, forward and back. And when you're ready, let's reverse it around. Your goal here is range of motion with a little pressure. Great. And then holding it, taking my left hand along the top, and again, the fingers go underneath it like you're catching them on the ball of the foot, gently pulling those toes towards the ankle. My right hand is gently going to pull that heel back. Think about holding this for 10 seconds and then releasing it and then hold it again. Use your breath. I think it's always great to integrate the breath into your exercise. Breath helps you focus. And I think it also helps you really increase what you're doing. So when you're stretching and breathing, integrating the breath really does help. And let this go when you're ready. And making a fist, knuckles into the arch, and then just up and down, up and down. So if you are someone who practices reflexology, you can think about, oh, there's my kidneys, my liver, my lungs. I think it's time to learn more about reflexology. And some of you probably know more. Okay, we're gonna release this, and then we're going to spling with the thumbs, and then gently pulling and pulling across and down and out that way. That's it. All the way down, and then work your way back up. Really think about opening up. How many joints are in your feet? You have about 200 little bones in there. There's so many joints and bones, connective tissue, so many different little things you become aware of when they start hurting. So as much as we can strengthen to prevent any hurting, and you're gonna just simply let that go. Make sure it display. Okay, so pick this up, hold it in front, and let's just gently circle that ankle around. And reverse the ankle. Great. All right, with the ball, you can put, this is also something that you can do on an airplane, mind you, just grab a tennis ball, bring it with you, and just roll that ball front to back. And then simply hold it. The ball does all the work. It's the weight of the leg, adding pressure. This feels great, rolling. If you've ever had any kind of injury, or if you're just looking for something a little different, taking a Dixie cup, filling it with water, putting it in the freezer, and then rolling that forward and back on the bottom of your foot. That actually feels really good. Just as an extra added. And then the other thing I want to point out about feet is about this area right here, the tibialis anterior. So really, this is the tibialis anterior, the muscles that run along the front of the shin. And it's great to give them a little attention, massaging. And also toe taps. So the reason that toe taps are a really good exercise is it helps to strengthen the tibialis anterior. When the tibialis anterior gets weak, what happens, I'm going to step over here so you can still hopefully see me. When the tibialis anterior gets weak, you're not able to lift your toe as much, your toes. So when you walk, you might end up with a little bit more of a shuffle. You may end up with a little bit of a shuffle for a variety of reasons, but keeping that muscle strong is really important for the ability to lift and dorsiflex your ankle joint. I want to go into another, because I'm taking a look at the clock. This is one of my favorite exercises. So I put a towel on the floor and I put just my toes on the floor. And I'm going to do the towel scrunch by pulling that towel towards me and I'm scrunching my toes. So I want to make sure you can see that. So even if you can't see my head, I'm going to go over here. I put just the ball of the foot on and I pull, I'm trying to scrunch the towel by pulling with my toes. Yes? Okay, and now I want to see if I can reverse it. Can I reverse the towel scrunch? Not as easy. So that one's a push. So there's the pull, strengthening those muscles in the foot, and then there's the push back. So you can practice that. Practice the push and the pull. So scrunching a towel is a really great activity for strengthening your feet. I want to show you this, which is a little stretch. I have 2 yoga blankets. You probably have blankets or little bolsters or something at home that I've stacked one on top of the other, and I'm putting the ball of my foot on, and I'm going to move and finding my balance. Make sure you have something that you can hold on to if you need it. The ball of my foot on here to get this little stretch through my calf. Why is it important to stretch the calf? Well, one of the things that I learned when I had plantar fasciitis was that tight calves can be a reason why we develop plantar fasciitis. Tight calves or injury to the Achilles tendon or tightness in the Achilles tendon. So stretching calves is really important. Another way is holding on. I've got this leg back. I've got that ankle down. I feel the stretch through the calf, through the belly of the calf on that one. My 2 hands are here supporting upper body. Now here is an adjustment to that calf stretch. I'm going to bend the knee in so that, and try to maintain the heel down so that you stretch the soleus, which is the smaller part of the calf muscle. Notice the knee is bent. And then with the long stretches here. Okay, so I'm going to just do the other side. Calf stretch, whoops. Calf stretch, oh, hold on. Calf stretch, long leg, bend the knee, try to keep that heel down. You feel right away that that stretch goes down into the lower part of the calf. This is an exercise I encourage you, or a stretch I encourage you to do really every day is to really stretch those calves and then release. Shake out. And at this point, I just want to just say one thing about this exercise. I have it stacked up kind of high. I'm going to try it lower. And seeing if you can put both balls of your feet on the blanket and just holding it here so that your heels are just slightly lower. It's minor, but it's a really nice stretch through the back of the calves. And then release that. Okay. So those are the exercises that I wanted to focus on. There's always more. There's always work with a strap that you can do, putting the strap underneath the arch of your foot and moving that foot with a little resistance in and out. Making the alphabet with your ankle, building strength in through the ankle joint and the foot. So at this point, if anyone has any questions.
Thank you very much, Mary. There has been one question at the beginning of the session, actually not really related to your class today. It was about the Albany Y and if there are Tai Chi classes there, if you know that. So that was one of the questions.
Oh, thank you. That right now we do not have Tai Chi classes. And I'm trying to think if the Berkeley Y or the Oakland Y might have either a Qigong or a Tai Chi class. They can look into that for sure.
Yeah. Well, that was,
yeah.
That was actually really a great class. And for someone who has had problems with their feet her whole life, me, that was particularly interesting. And I personally have two questions for you. I mean, number one, what do you think of these spiky balls, you know, instead of like just a regular tennis ball? I mean, and how much pressure actually do you put on these balls? I mean, do you really push into the ground or is it more like a subtle kind of?
I always start gently. And I would always let how it feels be your guide. So I think the spiky ball, again, it just has a little bit more finesse, more points of getting in there. So I would do, if you have a spiky ball and you want to use it, go right ahead. I don't think, yeah. And again, I never do anything to the point where it's like really, really painful. You know, you want it to feel a combination of, ooh, I really should be doing this more, and this feels good. So yeah, both of those things.
So I have a question about how much barefoot time do you recommend for someone with cold feet?
Cold feet?
Cold feet, yes.
Well, let's see. I would warm up those feet. I don't, you know, what should I say about barefoot time? I try and take my shoes off when I get home from work, walk around, and then I put my slippers on. I actually don't like cold feet either. So I wouldn't walk around with cold feet. I would just make sure your feet are warm when you're spending time. Yeah, I don't have a really good answer for that. Don't have cold feet. It's not good. It's not, I don't think it's good. Warm them up, do your exercises, and I think that's probably ample.
Yeah. So how frequently should you do these exercises? Daily?
You know, I would spend some time every day working on feet. I think it's really helpful. At the you know, find a time. It's like, you know, build into something that you're already doing. I think it's a really good approach for adding something to that you want to do regularly. So if there's something that you do, like if you do exercises, just add it before or after, and know that that is an extra component. You know, before bedtime, sometimes people who have plantar fasciitis actually do wake up with really sore feet. So spending some time warming those feet up, slowly putting weight on them. So I would just say whatever works for you, but I would definitely recommend something every day. If you can, and like everything, I mean, just add it to the list of all the things we should be doing, but, certainly do what you can. And oftentimes, we're driven by necessity when things are bothering us, or we really need to send some attention, then that's when we usually do focus on an area of the body, but whatever, moving in some way and then adding special attention to the feet would be great.
So someone asked about a specific exercise for sore, tight ankles when getting up in the morning.
Yeah, well, I was just watching this video of these two chiropractors talking specifically about getting up in the morning and about feet, and what they recommend, and everybody's different, but what they recommend is continue lying in bed, get the covers off, get your leg in a certain position, like just holding on and circling ankles, just getting some blood flow, getting some range of motion built in. I would definitely, if that's something that you wake up with, definitely send it some love before you put your weight on those feet in the morning. So yeah, so spending some time with that.
The next question, I cannot reach my feet with my hands because I have such bad osteoarthritis in my hip joints. Are there alternative foot care exercises?
Well, yeah, I certainly, definitely everybody has certain limitations. I think doing the ball underneath the foot is really helpful. You don't have to, be able to reach it. The other is using a strap, like, so sitting, use as an extension of your hands, just, moving the ankle, just applying whatever you can, either sitting, or lying down. But whatever we can do to adjust to limitations, actually, sometimes you just have to be a little creative with it. But the ball is a great adjustment, something to be used.
Another question was, what about when you have had hip surgery and you are not supposed to cross your leg over other leg as demonstrated? I think
good point. Yes, always follow the advice of your doctors and physical therapists. And if you can't cross your leg over, then again, going back to what can you do with that leg right when it's in parallel? So using a strap, the towel, the calf stretch, yeah, the ball, all of those things. So yeah, if you can't cross over, for sure. And the other is if you are able to lie on your back and, keep it, if that's possible. I recognize that, this position is not great for everyone, for sure. So however you can modify that by not going into that particular.
So I just want to point out that it's 1:45, and I know Mary had a hard stop that we needed to, respect here. But I want to say what a wonderful class, and thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge. And I'm sure our feet are feeling 100% better than they were 45 minutes ago.
I hope you all took your shoes and socks off and we're following along. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sigrid. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you all for inviting me. It was really my pleasure. And I just want to give a shout out to Skylar Bailey, whose name I see. I named my son after Skylar because Skylar was on the board of the YMCA. I was at a dinner and he was getting Volunteer of the Year. And I was 8 months pregnant and I had no male boy's name. And so I came home from that dinner and I said to my husband, he is going to be Skylar if it's a boy. So anyway, I've told Skylar that story. He knows it. But anyway, just hi.
Great.
Anyway,
thank you so much, Mary.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.